Fox News alerts several big city mayors sending a letter to Congress yesterday objecting to federal agents handling violent protests like those in Portland. Joining us now is Justice Department spokeswoman Kerri Kupec. Kerri, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let me start with the assertion that is coming from Democrats and coming from folks in those towns. We had Mo Alethi on in the last hour saying that these federal forces, as they're calling them in these cities, are tear gassing moms who are peacefully protesting. There's been a lot of accusations that they are throwing protesters into unmarked vans without telling them who they are. Is that what's going on, and is that okay?
Well, with respect to Portland, I think I think we're talking about two different things. We're addressing civil unrest in Portland right now, and as you know, Melissa, as Fox has been covering extensively, what happened over the weekend was truly horrifying there. You had 1,000 people surging the building there in Portland. You had violent individuals throwing concrete at federal law enforcement officers, shining lasers in their eyes, setting up nails in walls so that they would be impaled. And in fact, one of our marshals was impaled. We had set up a fence, or DHS had set up a fence around the building there in Portland, and these protesters tore down this fence. This fence will have to be rebuilt, and taxpayers will be paying for that. And look, we have a duty to enforce federal law, and we're going to enforce that federal law. We are not going to tolerate attacks on our people and our property. And if elected officials want to abdicate their responsibility and not take care of the safety and security of the very people who put them into office, that's on their conscience, but we're not going to do the same.
Okay. I understand all that, but I don't think you answered my question, which was that are there people who are putting either, whoever these folks are, whether they're being violent or whether they're protesters, are they putting them into unmarked vans without identifying who they are as federal law enforcement officials? Is that going on?
So I think you're speaking specifically to in their operations over the weekend. So some of these questions would be better posed to DHS. But my understanding, my limited understanding of DHS's role in that particular situation that you're referring to is twofold. One, that their people are appropriately identified, and two, this issue of unmarked cars and vehicles. I know that local law enforcement and state and federal often use unmarked vans when they're making arrests, and there are all kinds of security reasons for doing so. But again, these questions are better posed to DHS, since this is something that they were involved in over the weekend. Okay.
When you're talking specifically about defending those buildings in Portland, are there moms who are peacefully protesting that are getting tear gassed?
So I'm glad you raised the question of moms, actually, because there was a peaceful gathering of mothers who had linked arms outside of Portland around that fence, trying to prevent the violent agitators from, in fact, tearing down that fence. So you had peaceful mothers who were saying, please don't do this. This is not the way that we achieve change, that we get our voices heard. And as far as tear gas, I'm not aware of anything. I'm not aware of what you're referring to at this point, but that's what I'm aware of as far as the mothers are concerned.
Okay. Kerri Kupec, thank you for your time today. We appreciate it.